In this talk, we present an analysis of consent banners through the interaction criticism approach, with the goal of bringing together the language and conceptual landscape of HCI, design, privacy and data protection, and legal research communities in relation to the design and experience of consent banners. The language of dark patterns is increasingly used to argue across many domains of interest, including legal and design perspectives, pointing towards the limitations of policy and the need to engage in transdisciplinary scholarship across disciplinary boundaries. This paper was written over a period of almost 9 months by a research team with expertise in design, EU data protection law, and web privacy measurement, using dark patterns as a connecting framework to bridge our disciplinary expertise. We sought to find a common ground while also seeking to inform disciplinary advances in each of our respective areas. Building on our diverse disciplinary expertise, we reviewed recordings from over 50 sites and extensively analyzed the design and users' means of interaction with the consent banners on these websites, building a consent task flow with 4 stages alongside use of Bardzell's interaction criticism approach. We used interaction criticism to explore the contributions of design scholarship, legal jurisprudence, and discussions of ethics and values from both academic and practitioner perspectives. We iteratively and reflexively built out an argument from each of 4 perspectives, seeking to identify salient design principles, potential social expectations or means of describing intent, and legal or policy guidance through which the consent design choices could be framed. In synthesizing perspectives from design, law, and computer science, we described a consent task flow with 4 different types of manipulation, which we will briefly illustrate. In the paper, we align these manipulative experiences alongside consent requirements and dark pattern strategies to illustrate tensions and opportunities in relation to law, design, user experience, and social impact. A consent wall takes the form of a dialogue or popover displayed on part of a page, but may also completely block the page, preventing any action by the user until a choice has been made. This design choice allows a user to select between acceptance and refusal. However, the concrete use of the website is blocked until a choice has been made. This design choice presents a tension between interactive separation of user activities, strategies meant to limit user interaction prior to completing the consenting process, requirements that mandate that consenting precedes use, and the various impacts of both a burden of care on the part of the designer and the freely given nature of the consent process itself. A tracking wall is an instance of a consent wall, blocking access to the website until the user makes their choice and giving the user only one option, to consent and accept any terms offered by the site, without any potential to refuse. Similar to the consent wall, this design choice increases the tension between interactive separation of user activities and the requirement to allow the user to freely give their consent. In addition, the lack of an ability to reject consent, alongside the inability to use the web resource without making this forced choice, represents an additional barrier to the user's ability to make a specific and informed decision. With reduced service, a website offers reduced functionality based on user-selected configuration options. This design choice presents tensions along separation of access to content based on the consent choice of the user, the economic realities of producing and providing access to content, requirements for consent to be freely given with outcomes that are transparent to the user, and increasing social expectations that web content be accessible without cost or obligation. Most instances of this design choice are likely to fail, either by limiting consent choices up front or by using manipulative language to lull the user into accepting a choice with different consequences than they may expect. Other configuration barriers manipulate the user towards accepting consent. The notion of configuration is central to the ability of the user to make an unambiguous and specific choice about how their data can be collected and used. However, so many of the visual and interactive elements relate and interact in ways that resist the ability of policy to specify allowable and non-allowable design choices, using techniques such as interface interference and sneaking. As we have described, the inclusion of dark patterns in consent banners is an n-dimensional phenomenon which includes dimensions of time, interaction, design, psychology, and law, demanding a holistic analysis from many perspectives. The deeper we look into consent mechanisms in the matter of user choice, the more we understand the need to combine the perspectives of many different fields as part of a transdisciplinary dialogue. In particular, we provide an initial framing for bidirectional design and legal argumentation, evaluating and interrogating designed experiences using the language of law and policy, while also using a user experience or user interface as a means of addressing gaps or opportunities for more precision in existing legal or policy frameworks. In conclusion, We acknowledge the support of several organizations that have funded this work, and we thank you for listening.